Hello and welcome to Shogun 2 for the PC. Anybody who knows me knows my nickname is Jap among my close friends. Got a love of all things Japanese, especially tattooed Japanese skinny fitness instructors with large breasts. Yeah. Anyway, I love my samurai films, well into the Kurosawa films, Toshiro Mifune, all that sort of thing. So anything that's slightly Japanesey, I love it. So when this game came along, originally I saw this game on Steam and I thought it looks way complicated. And it is, the single player version there's a lot of finance management and strategy, and then you can also do the battles in real time. I'm just going to show you one of the battles near the beginning of the campaign, really. I am a noob, so I'm not really quite sure a lot of the tactics, and I haven't got a lot of the units, and I haven't built them up and things like that, but just to show you one of the actual battles. Turns out it's a bit of chaos, but then again, I suppose you've got to know what you're doing. So let's get on the battlefield, and let's get some knacking! So it's 1536, basically we're at war. There's a geisha girl in the other clan that I would like to bomb, and their warlord said no, so it's time to destroy, and then I'm going to rape and pillage her and give her a right good seeing to. So here we are, this is my basic army, and actually before we set off for mass murder and hot sex with geisha girls, let's just have a quick look at some of my units, and I'll try and give you a little description of what they are, as again I'm still learning that. Before these guys run off, let's jump in and have a quick look at some of my units. So these are my bow Ashigaru, lots of range, good for taking infantry. We can also use fire arrows as well at some point, which is good against ships and buildings. And they've got a really good range. These are not the best archers because I'm starting off in the game, but they are a good unit. They need protecting from cavalry though. You can protect them from cavalry using these, which are my Yarigaru. Basically they can put these poleaxe down, these spears down to protect from cavalry. They're also quite good at combat, hand-to-hand combat, and they're a great unit to have at the flank. Basically have at the front line as well. Quite a good unit, not the most expensive units. As I said, I'm only quite early in the game though, so these are definitely usable. These are my Yari Samurai. Again, none of these units are at the top of their game just yet, but again, these are going to be your main fighting force, good at close quarters, good at hand-to-hand combat. Love my samurai. Hey! From there we move over to our, what have we got here? We've got our Shimara Katana Samurai. Now these guys obviously are the masters of hand-to-hand combat. Great for full-on assaults. Obviously you need to protect them to get in there, but once they're in there, heads and limbs will roll, literally. These guys are, great fighting force, these guys. Next up we have our general and his bodyguards. If anybody could tell me what these little bags are on the back, I've not seen these in any samurai film. Basically he gives morale to the troops, so you want to keep him quite close, but you don't want to lose your general. So let's start to head out and get on to this actual battle then, because that's what we're here to look at. So I'll give you a quick overview of what my tactics were and whether it worked or not. You can tell me that I'm a noob. But let's just get my army out here. You can see the enemy in the distance up there. So basically they're hidden in this tree, this forest line, making it a little bit difficult for me to know what they've actually got in there. So it's time to organise my troops, start to work my way in. I think we'll go for a pincer movement. So as you can see, I'm just organising my troops, trying to get my Yarigaru, whatever it is, my spearmen up at the front. Then behind that I'm going to get my bowmen with some samurai on the side. I'm actually going to split them into two, see if we can attack them from both sides. As you can see from this side, I've just jumped over to the enemy side just to have a look. As we come back up, you can see me over there in the distance. Looks like I'm still organising my troops at this point. A quick look in, you can see I'm starting to mobilise, and I'm actually going to split my team over 2 of them over to the right and keep the main force over to the left. See if we can't pincer them in that way. The game is actually really deep. Obviously there are more and more units as you get into the game, but there seems to be, especially online, I've not played online, this is actually against the computer, it's part of the campaign game. A lot of people seem to have a lot of tactics. They seem to know what all the units are and the things that they want to do and where they want to move. So a great game if you love your strategy games. The fact that it's to do with the samurai and the shogunate and Tokugawa era makes it even more appealing for me as a gamer and being a samurai fan. Hi! So as you can see here, this is where I'm actually splitting off. I've actually sent some hand-to-hand samurai down to the right, along with some yarigaru, the ones with the spikes, because I know at the front here there are some archers. So if I can get in there with my my yarigaru and my samurai, they're just going to absolutely rip them to pieces. The rest of my army I'm going to move over to the left. I'm going to try and get some, what have I got to the front here? I've got my bowmen, and actually, you see, this is where it's all a learning process. I've actually got that the wrong way around. It should be the yarigaru at the front to protect these archers, because as you'll see later on, they've actually got some cavalry that they send down, and archers against cavalry, just no chance. So these are the guys here that should be actually at the front line there, not behind them the other way around. But as you see, in battle, it gets a little bit chaotic. So if as you can see here, I'm moving up slowly, just so I can get a better idea of what's actually coming. And as you can see, the enemy in the distance is already starting to make a mad rush over to my units on the right hand side. We're actually going to be taking a few deaths here, because they're going to actually start firing arrows. As you can see, we're just creeping up here. They're actually going to start firing arrows at us, and we're going to take a few deaths. But I know that these guys are pretty hand-to-hand combat. If they can get just their archers up here, we're just going to pile in there and absolutely rip them to pieces. So that was the plan anyway. So here we are actually looking at their side. That's me creeping up in the distance there that you've just seen. They're already starting to take a few pot shots here. You can only imagine in real life what this must have been like. It must have been terrifying being, in this position, the front line, seeing that mass horde of people, samurai, knowing that they're coming towards you and they would rather kill you and die with honour than just, it would be absolutely brutal. So there I am, I've started to make my charge. These guys are absolutely going to rip these archers a new arsehole. They've absolutely got no chance against these. We've got a hand-to-hand combat, and we've got the Yari with the poles. I've forgotten the actual correct name for them at the minute. So as we zoom back, you're going to see these guys are actually going to they've got no chance at this section. But obviously this is only one small part of the battle, because I actually split the army into 2. And here we see from another angle my samurai in green on the left. He actually reinforced his units with yarigari again, the ones with the poles, but fortunately with my samurai being there as well, 2 of theirs against mine, they're still not going to win. And as you can see down here, some of my samurai are just a lot of blood. Oh, look at that, nice. Yeah, they're actually going to mince meat. He tried to bring in his generals and some of his horses as well to try and run down some, which really, if I'd thought about it, I should have put my yarigari into a defensive position with their poles down. It would have taken most of those horses out, but in the heat of the moment, as you can see, there is a lot going on here. It looks like I actually brought my archers over. Now, they're way too close. They were actually in the combat, and I should have moved them back. But again, it's a learning process. Quite a huge battle going on here. And as you can see in the distance, this was the original battle we were just looking at. He's starting to flee a little bit on some of his horses. So it's time for me to rearrange some of my the main force and pull back a little bit and organise, get myself organised, I think. So this is actually the main part that I pulled back. As you can see, I've got my general here to keep the morale up for my troops. I've got my archers here, which are taking a few pot shots. Now this is where I should have put the pikemen at the front. As you can see, these generals' horses have just absolutely run straight through that line at the front of archers. But luckily for me, we'd attacked them so much that they'd actually started to rout. So anyway, this has just been a quick battle. I am a total noob at this game, but so far I'm absolutely loving it. It is a great game, very immersive. and we may look at the single player campaign and how all that works if anybody else is interested. But in the meantime, absolutely loving this game. If you're into your strategy games and your war games, I'm quite new to the Total War series, but definitely enjoying this. The Rome 2 I think is coming out in September, so if I can get my head around a little bit more on the single player campaign and what's involved in that, I think it will be a great game, lots of units. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Now go commit Kari, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Guess you go.